Welcome to the Hotel of the Future. I'm Robert Firpo Capiello, Editor-in-Chief at Hospitality Technology. My guest is Josh Cigna, Senior Solutions Architect at Yubico. Josh, welcome to the Hotel of the Future.
Thanks so much for having me, Robert. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm psyched to talk to you. I want to give you a minute to introduce yourself and the Yubico mission to our hospitality technology audience. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Josh Cigna. I am an architect here at Yubico. I work in the office of the CTO, which means that I get to do a lot of research. We get to do a lot of thinking and testing and evaluating what goes on within the authentication space. Historically, I've been in the identity and access management space for over 15 years. Worked for different Fortune 500 companies in very highly regulated environments. um, I always try and consider the user and think about the user impact to whatever types of solutions I help design and deliver. And I think that in order for any type of program to be successful, you really need to consider how users are going to interact with it. Otherwise, people will find ways around things. Um, Yubico is a really great place to be. Our mission is to make the internet a safer place for everybody, period. We've been around since around 2007, and we set the global standards for lots of different identity and access management security solutions. From the get-go, we were trying to find ways to really bridge that gap between technology and user, make products and tools that people will use and people will want to use to ensure that systems and solutions are secure and resilient. We've contributed to the FIDO2 standard, contributed very highly to the FIDO2 standard, which was adopted by the World Wide Web Consortium as WebAuthn. That standard, it has been recognized by NIST as the way to go if you want phishing-resistant authentication. That is the highest level of assurance when it comes to proving you are who you say you are in going from a low security to a high security environment. Um, we work with thousands of companies worldwide. We secure hundreds of thousands of accounts, and we are looking for interesting problems to find with creative and innovative solutions in that identity space to make sure that we can solve the problems of the future.
Well, this sounds great, and it sounds like you're the ideal person for me to ask the next the next question. Um, so the Hotel of the Future, we're eager to hear your thoughts on what that
Sure.
looks like. And of course, just to clarify, we're not talking about 20 years from now. We're talking about what's on the horizon, what's happening now that hotel operators need to know. From that through that lens of cybersecurity, what does that Hotel of the Future mean to you? And just as importantly, what are some technology implementations that'll help bring it to life?
Yeah. So hotels really pose a a very interesting problem because there is always an in-person aspect to a hotel. It's not an app on your phone or it's not a portal on a website. It's a physical, at the end of the day, it's a physical building, and you have a responsibility to your customers and to your employees to make sure that you're letting the right people through the door, you're putting the right people in the rooms, you're being prudent with the recording and the budgeting and the financial transactions that take place. And even looking forward, it will always have all of those aspects where we've seen lots of disruption in other industries going from brick and mortar to online only. Hoteliers have this, they can be sure that it will always be a place in a building or a place in a space that needs to be secured. And there will always be this concept of identity that needs to be ensured, either the identity of your front of house folks, the identity of your cleaning staff, to the identity of your customers. All of these things need to be ensured in order for your business to run successfully and run securely. Um, in the very near future, we can see a lot more pressure put on the identity of your employees, your identity proofing mechanisms. There's lots of financial regulations coming down in the US and in the EU and across the world that mean that these transactions, especially where money is being handed across or where credit cards are being handed across the desk, they need to be secure, and that information needs to be protected. And we see a lot of capability with modern authentication standards to protect those processes. We have one customer, Hyatt, who has completely eliminated passwords from their authentication processes through the use of FIDO2 tokens. This means that from the front of house perspective, they don't have to have a they don't need to have staff like pull out a phone and break eye contact to like copy things from a phone. They can just like put the key in and tap the key and continue forward. It ensures that the high level of customer service that they want is there. It also ensures that they have the highest level of authentication, and you're not putting your users in a place to be susceptible to password theft. You're not putting your users in a place to be susceptible to I just went on vacation and came back and forgot my password, because it's all baked in. We have the technology and we have the hardware in the form of security keys to automate and to lift a lot of the burden off the shoulders of your users in that space. And by implementing it across the board, you make their lives easier through the use of technology. And that's really what we want to do. A little bit further out, and where Yubico has begun doing some work or begun doing some research really is on the digital identity for consumer space. These are your mobile driver's licenses or digital passports. All of these concepts are still very nebulous, but we want to ensure that when they come to reality, they are not only user friendly, but they also share that highest level of assurance. And we can use the capabilities that those tools provide to ease the flow of users through that front desk, through that check-in, through that checkout process.
Well, this sounds great, Josh. Can you tell us more about the YubiKey?
Sure. So the YubiKey is the product that Yubico makes. It is a hardware device. It works over NFC or USB for your phone or your computer or your laptop or your tablet, and it acts as a portable root of trust. What that means is within the key itself is a secure element. It creates public and private keys, and then it uses those keys during registration and authentication ceremonies to ensure that you have the highest level of authorization. Again, it uses that WebAuthn standard that we talked about. That standard is very widely adopted across lots of different vendors' operating systems and platforms, and integrating it into existing authentication workflows is very easy. Most modern IDPs support it out of the box, and you can customize different workflows to adopt it in different ways. The product itself is very simple for end users to understand. They plug a thing in like a house key. It's very much analogous to the put a key in your car or put a key in your front door to unlock it. And you can also reinforce that through the user space in that way. I mean, these are hotel users. They understand door, key, things match very easy. The YubiKey itself supports that WebAuthn standard. In modern times, it is also known as a passkey, but there are different flavors of passkeys, and not all authentication standards are built the same way. What we like about the YubiKey is that all of the secrets material stays within the key itself. It doesn't live on the cloud. It doesn't live on a device. It is on the key itself, and it cannot be extracted from that key. So when you start reading in this space, or if your customers have seen anything in that space, they might see passkey, they might see WebAuthn. It's all the same. And the YubiKey is really just a very consumer friendly, user friendly package to encapsulate all of that technology.
It sounds really exciting, and you've articulated some positive outcomes, but I'd love to hear just a little more about, like, my takeaway is, password free login,
Yes.
incredible, and
Yeah.
then digital ID, like a secure digital ID,
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, so if you look at the current implementation of keyless room entry right now, most of the time it relies on an app, but those hotels still need to fall back to a physical check of an ID. You still need to go to the front desk after you've checked in to say, this is my ID. I'd like to turn on my digital room key. Through the use of this secure authentication mechanism, through the use of pairing your mobile driver's license to your hotel checkout process, you can skip those steps. You can ease the burden, and you are ensuring that your customers have that highest level of security, and you can ensure that your employees also are able to kind of expedite those long check-in lines when you get. So that's one outcome that we are, happy to see. It meets all of the check boxes that we want. We know that we can leverage secure authentication technologies, and we know that we can leverage portable roots of trust, we call them. It's just a way to ensure that your secrets data is stored securely. You can leverage those to make sure that you have strong phishing-resistant authentication and strong digital identification to your checkout processes and to your check-in processes to speed that along and kind of ease the burden there. Your other, the other advantage to adopting this WebAuthn authentication workflows in the IAM side, your front of house and your back of house side, is resilience against account takeovers and ease of recovery for those employees. Hotel employees, front of house, back of house, they're often hourly, so you have dips and peaks when it comes to the amount of time they're in the building as opposed to the amount of time they're out of the building, and that can result in forgotten passwords, lost passwords. You also have the concept of impersonation, where a hotel is a home away from home. You want to ensure that only the right people are getting through the door, and through those strong authentication processes, you can solve a lot of the risk that is in that space, and address a lot of the risk that's in that space. So in the short and long term, we have seen, again, with our partners at Hyatt, the increased throughput, higher level of security, higher level of employee happiness. They are very happy that they don't need to know passwords. They are very happy that they can just plug a thing in and tap it and go. But also you get that on the customer side, where if you are meeting customers where they want to be, you make happy customers, and you drive customers to your properties because they know that you are taking care of their security and you are making their experience better.
What I love about this is that it's the hotel of the future. It's happening already at Hyatt, and so it's the future for a lot of other brands. And I'm really psyched with how you articulated that. Josh Cigna from Yubico, we appreciate your time. Thanks for talking to us about the hotel of the future.
It's been wonderful, Robert. Thank you so much for having us.